Before we begin this powerful and emotional story about an Air Force cadet and former President Donald J. Trump, a story that will surely touch your heart, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss meaningful stories that truly matter. Cadet Aaron Cole stood tall and motionless under the scorching Texas sun. Behind him, the majestic campus of the United States Air Force Academy glistened in the heat. His uniform, freshly pressed, clung tightly to his athletic build as Colonel Rebecca Harlow stepped forward to address the assembled cadets. "A historic occasion is upon us," she announced, her voice carrying firmly across the courtyard. "President Donald J. Trump will personally visit next week to award the Medal of Valor to one of our own." A collective gasp moved through the crowd. Having a sitting president visit the base was a rare and significant event. Aaron blinked in surprise. "Wait, who's being honored?" Then Colonel Harlow turned directly toward him. "You are, Cadet Cole?" His heartbeat jumped. "The Medal of Valor. But why?" she continued. "You risked your life during that mid-air training incident. You saved Cadet Riley by ejecting her first, then kept the aircraft steady long enough to avoid disaster in a civilian area. That act of bravery is why you're being recognized." The cadets around him burst into applause. Aaron nodded respectfully, but a strange unease curled in his chest. To him, the rescue had been automatic, instinctive. Wasn't that what anyone would have done? As the crowd dispersed, Cadet Riley approached him, her eyes heavy with emotion. "Aaron, if you hadn't been there, I'd be you'd have done the same for me." He cut in gently. That night, lying awake in his bunk, Aaron stared out the window at the stars. A question echoed in his mind. Why do I feel so uncomfortable about the award? Why does something inside me say no? He reached beneath his bed and pulled out a worn envelope containing a letter he had written but never sent, addressed to the President of the United States. The letter had remained sealed for over a year. Aaron had written it after the death of his older brother, Staff Sergeant Caleb Cole, who died during a classified mission overseas. His family received no explanation, just a folded flag, a military salute, and a heavy silence. The letter began as a coping mechanism for grief, but eventually, it grew into something more profound. Aaron didn't use the letter to assign blame or demand justice. Instead, he poured out his heart about the meaning of service, sacrifice, and the silent suffering of military families, especially those who never got closure. No one talks about the forgotten. He had written, the veterans sleeping on sidewalks, the widows still waiting, the children who grow up with a folded flag as their only memory. Though the letter was sealed, he had never mailed it. Now, with the ceremony drawing near and the president himself expected to appear, a thought bloomed in his mind. What if this moment wasn't about me? What if I could do something for Caleb and others like him? The next morning, Aaron visited the Academy Chapel. Sitting quietly in a back pew, holding the letter in his hands, he whispered, "Should I do it?" A still, inner voice answered, "Yes, make it count." Later that day, Cadet Riley found him beneath a tree, his eyes distant. "Skipping the buzz?" she asked, tossing him an energy bar. "Not skipping, just thinking," he replied softly. She tilted her head. "I know that look. You're about to do something noble and probably reckless. Look." Aaron gave a half smile. "What if I don't want the medal?" She blinked. "What? I mean, what if I use this opportunity to ask for something that really matters?" Riley's expression shifted to concern. "Aaron, this is the President of the United States. There will be cameras, high-ranking officials, if you refuse the award. In public, it could damage your career." "I'm not refusing to serve," he said calmly. "I'm just refusing the spotlight." Riley leaned closer. "Then what are you hoping to do?" He looked down, then slowly raised the envelope. "I want people to see what we hide? The pain behind the parades. The sacrifices we don't acknowledge. I want the president to read this letter." Riley scanned the first few lines and fell silent. "Aaron, this could go viral. It might change things or destroy everything." He nodded. "I know." That evening, Aaron entered Colonel Harlow's office. She looked up from her desk, visibly focused on final preparations. "Yes, Cadet. I need a word privately." He handed her the letter. She read it silently, her mouth tightening into a firm line. "This isn't a protest," Aaron said quietly. "It's a plea for those who have been forgotten." She studied him, then closed the envelope and handed it back. "You've got guts, Cadet, but you need to understand this is a national event. If you go off script, it won't just reflect on you. It reflects on the Academy and every cadet who comes after." Aaron met her gaze. "Ma'am, this place teaches leadership. I just want to lead with truth." She took a deep breath, then slowly nodded. "Then do it with dignity. And make sure what you ask for is worth it." Ceremony day dawned with a fiery red sunrise. The cadets lined up in flawless formation. Secret Service agents patrolled every corner. The podium gleamed, surrounded by American flags. Families of service members, veterans, and press filled the audience. Among them sat Aaron's parents. His mother held Caleb's dog tags tightly in her palm. Aaron's heart pounded. He wore the same uniform Caleb had been buried in. As Hail to the Chief played, President Trump strode confidently to the stage, waving and smiling. Today, the president began. We honor a young cadet whose bravery saved a life and prevented a catastrophe. Aaron stepped forward. Beside the president sat a velvet box, gleaming with the Medal of Valor. Everyone anticipated Aaron would accept it. Instead, he walked to the microphone. The courtyard went silent. Mr. President, he began, his voice steady. I'm deeply honored by this moment, but I can't accept this medal. Gasps swept through the crowd. Trump raised an eyebrow. I didn't act alone. Aaron continued. Any one of my fellow cadets would have done the same. I don't need a medal. But I do have a request. He reached inside his jacket and pulled out the envelope. This letter was written after my brother, Staff Sergeant Caleb Cole, was killed. We never learned what truly happened. But we've seen what always happens: veterans ignored, families forgotten. The silence deepened. I want this letter to be read not just by you, Mr. President, but by the entire nation. I want every forgotten family to know they are not invisible. The president held out his hand. Aaron placed the letter into it. Cameras zoomed in. The moment froze in time. By that evening, the video had gone viral. Cadet refuses medal, gives Trump a letter, instead dominated headlines. Within hours, the video had over 4 million views. Veterans shared it. Military families reposted it. Celebrities tweeted, #read the letter. In New York, a widow whispered, finally. Someone said, in Ohio, a homeless veteran cried while watching from a shelter. At the White House, President Trump sat silently in the Oval Office, reading every word. After a long pause, he looked up at his aide and said softly, this kid just changed the game. The letter read, Mr. President, my name is Aaron Cole. I'm training to become an Air Force officer, like my brother Caleb, who died in service to this nation. But I'm not writing for honors. I'm writing for the men sleeping on sidewalks, for the wives standing in food lines, for the children who wear their dad's uniform just to feel close. If you truly want to honor me, honor them. Create a country where no veteran is forgotten, no widow is alone, and every sacrifice is seen. Please, make them visible. Cadet Aaron Cole. The next morning, a national press conference was held. President Trump stood before the country, the letter in his hand. I met a cadet who reminded me of what true service means. He said, he didn't ask for praise, he asked for justice. Holding up the letter, Trump declared, this is our call to action. He announced the Caleb Project 10 executive initiative to support forgotten veterans and their families. It would fund housing, therapy, and job programs. The crowd erupted in applause. Aaron's phone buzzed. An unknown number. Hello, he answered. Aaron, this is Donald Trump. I read every word. You moved a nation, son. Aaron choked back emotion. Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like you to serve on the advisory board for the Caleb Project. We need voices like yours. I'd be honored, sir, Aaron replied. You didn't just turn down a medal, Trump said. You gave millions a voice. Back home, Aaron's parents watched the news, tears streaming down their cheeks. He's making Caleb proud. His mother said softly. No, his father added, he's continuing Caleb's mission. That night, during a FaceTime call, his mother said, you gave your pain a purpose. Aaron nodded, eyes glistening. I just wanted people to remember. At the academy, Cadet Riley met him near the track. You're a celebrity now, huh? Aaron smiled, didn't mean to be. She hugged him. You didn't aim to be famous. You aimed to make a difference, and you did. Construction began on the first Caleb House, a transitional shelter for veterans. Former soldiers arrived with tears in their eyes. Donations poured in. Schools invited Aaron to speak. 6 weeks later, the first family moved in. Aaron received a handwritten note. My dad was a vet. He died homeless. Last week, my mom and I got housing because of your program. I wear a toy uniform like my dad used to. Thank you for making us feel seen. Leo, Age 8. Aaron wept. He wrote again to the president. Dear Mr. President, thank you for listening. Thank you for acting. One voice echoes, but when leaders respond with heart, goes become change. With respect, Aaron, new cadets began approaching. Aaron, sir, you made us think beyond the uniform. I want to serve like that. Aaron smiled, then always remember, leadership isn't about rank. It's about heart. Months later, President Trump returned to the academy, this time to posthumously award the Medal of Valor to Staff Sergeant Caleb Cole. He placed the medal in the hands of Aaron and his parents. This family didn't ask for recognition, Trump said, but they showed us what real honor looks like. Every Caleb house features a wall with the names of fallen soldiers whose families never got full answers. At the top, a single quote reads, to make the invisible visible. When asked by a reporter, Aaron, do you regret turning down the medal? He smiled and said, no, I never wanted a medal, I wanted a movement. Years later, cadets would read about Aaron Cole's story in their leadership courses. His example taught them that real service wasn't about being seen, it was about seeing others. And in the quiet corners of America, where forgotten veterans finally slept under roofs instead of bridges, Aaron's voice continued to echo.